Dead Cells 2.5 Alpha has just been released yesterday, and today I'm going to give you guys a bit of an overview about the changes and some of my thoughts about them moving forward. Now I apologize I couldn't get this video out yesterday because I was pretty busy, but here we are. So without further ado, let's get right into the changes. So the update name this time is called the Practice Makes Perfect update. There were no balance changes this time around because they have all been addressed in the previous patch. So thankfully, my 2.4 tier lists will still be valid. Now there were mainly a bunch of quality of life changes, but the main addition to the update is the training room. So before you start the run, you'll see a bunch of new doors open to you now. The first noticeable door leads to the training room, which allows you to train against enemies you have fought against in your runs. So this is fantastic if you're learning, for example, parry windows, if you're learning dodge windows like with the slammers as well as the librarians, though you do have to reach them first in order to be able to summon them. And because I didn't really complete a run on this update yet, I don't have a lot of these unlocked. But as you can see, you can freely choose which ones you want to summon. On top of that, you can also now train against bosses as well. Given that you have encountered the boss at least once in your runs, you can now open these doors to train against them, except for the 5 BC boss. You cannot train against that boss, however. Another cool thing that was added are aspects. Aspects are very strong perks that gives you a significant edge in your runs. However, you cannot gain the next boss cell level, and I'm assuming it also disables achievements. Now imagine the role of aspects is to create an advantage of the game where you are not good against, where you're still struggling with. For example, there is a aspect that minimizes the consequences of getting hit while you're cursed. While you're cursed, you deal and take double damage instead. This is fantastic if you're still struggling on lifting curses because, well, if you get hit in a normal run, you just straight up die. So you can use these aspects to train areas of the game that you're not familiar with. Also, there are some aspects that are just straight up broken and will just instantly win you the run. For example, Assassin. With the Predator mutation, you can just mow through every single biome without a care in the world. Of course, I can also think of aspects being used for challenge runs. For example, there is a aspect called Menagerie, I think. It increases the damage you do if you have familiars or followers, such as the owl or biters. So I was thinking of doing like a run where you just use Swarm, and you just do like a biters only run, if that's even possible. For some reason, I cannot use more than one aspect at a time. I'm assuming that might be added later, but for now, that's just how it is. And finally, dual binding has been removed from the game. It is now exclusive to custom mode. If you go into custom mode, there is an additional profile that lets you dual bind. And from the looks of it, it will disable achievements. There are also more no-hit outfits now. Mainly golden outfits for every single boss in the game that you flawlessed. This is just something that you use for bragging rights and to flex on the broke boys. But for some reason, the one for Timekeeper seems to be missing. You can also now see which biomes you've been to throughout the run, so you have more knowledge of biome routes, so you don't really have to rely on the biome map on the wiki anymore, which is pretty good, I would say. Though again, I just wish there was more variety into biomes to incentivize you to go to them in the first place. However, they did say that they are boosting the drop of cells for biomes that you have visited the least of. So it kind of incentivizes you to go to Distillery, maybe Ossuary, but again, the rewards of going there is just not really good. But we'll see how this pans out. Some other quality of life changes. You can now see the total amount that you have for each color when you pick a scroll. Also, the color for tactics has changed from purple to violet, and it says here that you can now sell flask refills. I'm not sure what that looks like. I haven't done a run yet, but on higher BC levels, flasks are so scarce and valuable that I just can't really see myself selling flasks at 5 BC. But overall though, that's gonna be it for the changes. Now, what do I think of them actually? I definitely think this is an indirect way to kind of make the game more approachable for a lot of players. I know in the past, people have been basically duplicating their save file right before a boss to practice against them. I think that's fine now that this option is in the game where you can practice against every type of enemies and bosses. It's gonna make the game a lot more approachable. However, in the hub world, based on how it's structured, basically you can kind of go to these doors below the different platforms. It makes it look like it's a really well-made mod instead of an actual update. But who knows, maybe they'll change the designs when the official version is out. But overall though, that's gonna be it for the changes. Hopefully you enjoyed this brief overview video. I'm gonna have my range tier list out sometime this week or next week, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all later.